And we're having the conversations with basically every single investment bank that exists. Large shops, all the asset managers, there is momentum and a real desire to participate in this industry. Hedera is unique in that it is run by institutions, true enterprise-grade infrastructure with scalability and serious throughput. Hedera can onboard large-scale financial market infrastructure, and the validation and governance approach is long-term. There are no shortcuts. This is a 100-year vision driven by Google, Shinhan Bank, Aberdeen, and a consortium of Fortune 500s. We're here to partner not just across blockchains, but with legacy networks like Swift. The Hedera Foundation's Chief Business Officer, Greg Bell, just dropped a bombshell warning on HBAR. This is a century-scale build, and Hedera is speaking with the biggest investment banks and asset managers on Earth. If you hold HBAR, if you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. Let's unpack what that really means. A 100-year project doesn't mean wait a century to see upside. It means Hedera's governance, compliance posture, and technical roadmap are built to survive market cycles, regulatory pivots, and institutional requirements that most chains can't stomach. That matters to you now because institutions only lean into rails they believe will still exist in 5, 10, and 25 years. Translation, when the big money allocates, it picks the roads it trusts won't crack. When Greg Bell says they're talking to basically every major investment bank and top asset managers, that's telling you where the next integration headlines can come from. The first rule of institutional adoption, they move slow, then all at once. The first 5 announcements feel quiet, then a 6th triggers FOMO among peers, and the we're evaluating crowd sprints to we're piloting. If you remember the cloud computing wave, that's how enterprise tech goes parabolic. Not on retail hype, but on boardroom copy-paste. Why Hedera specifically? Because the trifecta enterprises obsess over is 1. Deterministic performance, finality in tilde seconds, low variance, 2. Predictable fees, microscopic and stable, and 3. Governance they can explain to a risk committee, council, oversight, legal entities, auditability. Humor me for a second. Try walking into a bank's model risk committee with gas fees might spike if a panda NFT mints tonight. Great for memes, not for payroll. Hedera's vibe is boring in the best possible CFO-approved way. Institutions are using it, why doesn't price instantly moon? Because usage speculative mania on day one. HBAR's fee economy is deliberately cheap. That's the feature. But markets don't just price revenue, they price credible dominance. When the street realizes Hedera is the shortest path from Swift-era finance to tokenized settlement rails, the speculation engine does what it always does, front runs the future. Actionable playbook for the next 100 days. This is where we separate tourists from operators. Track enterprise breadcrumbs, not influencer noise. Council meeting notes, foundation grants, RWA and payments pilots, CBDC and stablecoin proof points, and third-party custody support. When custodians and treasury tech firms add HBAR rails, that's a tell. Watch interoperability bridges. Swift alignment talk isn't just fluff. It's the difference between cool demo and we can actually settle intraday margin with our existing op stack. Monitor real-world asset RWA on-chain reporting. Various trackers lag Hedera indexing. As those feeds catch up, don't be shocked by step-to-function jumps in visible tokenized value. Ecosystem liquidity beats chain maxi sermons. Get familiar with Saucer Swap, Hashpack, HeliSwap, and the core infra your future counterparties will actually touch. If you can't use the apps, you won't see the flows coming. Let's sprinkle some charisma on the vegetables. Think of Hedera as the airport runway, not the plane. Airports don't moon because one jet lands. They matter because every airline files slots. Hedera's selling slots to banks, AMs, and payment networks who have been stuck in 1,970S plumbing. When those slots are full, traffic and attention compounds. Quick mindset check. You're not betting on a meme, you're front-running an operating standard. The 100-year line is a warning to gamblers and a green light for builders. If you wanted a carnival, there's an entire aisle of tokens doing triple backflips. If you want serious compounding value, you follow the rails everyone else will quietly use. Keep your seatbelt on. Next, we get spicy. How Hedera sits in the middle of legacy finance, Swift, and DTCC, and crypto's tokenized future, and what signals actually matter before headlines drop. Here's where the bombshell gets practical. We're here to partner, not just between blockchains, but also with Swift. That's not a motivational poster, that's a roadmap. Swift is the interbank messaging backbone. DTCC is the post-trade settlement backbone. If Hedera becomes the glue layer between legacy rails and tokenized settlement, you're not betting on a chain, you're front-running how TradFi migrates without breaking production. Wall Street isn't going crypto. Wall Street is going crypto adjacent without scaring compliance. Hedera's lane is precisely that. Institutional palatable DLT with public network guarantees and enterprise governance you can brief to a board. So what signals should you monitor before the tidal wave? A. Messaging interoperability pilots. When you see pilots that map Swift, MT, and ISO 2022 messages to token events, pledge, release, settle on Hedera, that's your canary. It means back offer systems can speak Hedera without tearing out 30-year-old software. Institutions love augmented, not replaced. B. Tokenized fund plumbing. You've heard the names. Asset managers exploring tokenized MMFs, bond ladders, or structured notes. The alpha isn't the first press release, it's the secondary operations. Intraday margining, collateral mobility, T plus instant scenarios. When you see words like intraday, auto reconciliation, composability across products, you're watching the stickiest value props deploy. C. Custody, treasury, and audit hooks. Enterprise adoption goes nowhere without SOC-friendly custody and ERP/treasury integrations. Think Kyriba and Oracle-type partners. If those vendors add Hedera, Rails, or sign reference clients, you're not early, you're correct. D. Stablecoin and deposit token pathways. Bank-issued stable instruments, e.g. state initiatives, cross-vendor bank pilots, are bridges for real cash. The moment you see programmatic, rule-bound, fiat-settle invoices or FX exposure on Hedera, that is utility crossing the chasm. Yes, the council model sparks debates about decentralization, but the trade many institutions prefer is governed resiliency over chaotic purity. They want finality, SLAs, auditability, and someone to email if it misbehaves. That's not anti-crypto, it's pro-dedeployment. You don't need a cape, you need a calendar. Institutions operate on quarters. If Q4 is pilot and paper, Q1/Q2 is often expand and standardize. Don't get faked out by week-to-week price noise while the plumbing is being plumbed. Now, about HBAR benefits from all this. Let's be smart. Fees are micro, the price engine is credibility plus positioning plus liquidity cycles. Credibility comes from those integrations. Positioning is your job. Liquidity arrives when narratives stack. TradFi bridges plus RWA lift plus stable settlement growth. If you're waiting for a light switch, you'll miss a sunrise. It's slow, then bright. Practical checklist to stay ahead, print this. Set alerts for council additions, custody integrations, treasury software announcements, and RWA platform listings that specifically mention Hedera. Follow developer releases, HIPs, SDK updates, and mirror gnome improvements that make enterprise reporting easier. If reporting is simple, deployment scales. Track FX and derivatives pilots. When intraday margin and tokenized collateral shows up in bank blogs or conference decks, you're on the runway. Watch, on-chain DEX volumes, new pools for institutional adjacent tokens, staking participation changes. These are the heartbeat monitors. Remember, when Rails unify legacy messaging with tokenized settlement, the opportunity isn't theoretical, it's operational. And Hedera is intentionally standing in the intersection with a traffic vest and a clipboard. Deep breath. Final loop, how to position like a pro without wrecking your risk profile, and what not to fall for when the headlines turn euphoric. Let's get real, hilarious, and helpful. The fastest way to miss a century-scale play is to invest like it's a carnival game. You don't need to throw rings at every bottle. You need a framework, a budget, and nerves. 1. Narrative greater than noise. Hedera's narrative isn't number go up. It's Rails the world can actually use. Keep a living doc, seriously, a Google Doc, with sections, messaging/Swift/ISO, post-trade/DTCC style ops, RWA, funds/deposit tokens, custody/treasury, and compliance/audit. Each time you see a new proof point, paste the source and date. You're building conviction, not coping, compounding. 2. Core position plus liquidity sidecar. Run a core HBAR spot position sized for sleep. No leverage needed to look smart in a secular adoption wave. Then keep a liquidity sidecar, cash or stables, for asymmetric moments. Ecosystem launches, RWA listings, or custody partner announcements that yank attention. Buy the panic, trim the euphoria, keep the core. 3. Learn the tools you'll actually use. Install Hashpack, practice on SaucerSwap/HeliSwap, understand staking/LP risks. If the words impermanent loss make your eyes glaze, allocate less or stick to single-sided options. Charisma tip: if you can order tacos on DoorDash, you can figure out a DEX. Just don't FOMO while you're still reading the menu. 4. Time horizons that don't self-sabotage. Institutions measure in quarters. Give your thesis at least 2-3 quarters to play out. That doesn't mean diamond hand everything blindly. It means stop grading a marathon by mile 2. Set mechanical profit trims, e.g. scale outs at plus 50%, plus 100%, plus 200%, and pre-commit to them while you're calm. Future you will try to renegotiate. Don't let them. Red flags to laugh at, but avoid. Instant 100x because bank. Institutions don't pump, they adopt. Gas will 100x price. Fees are intentionally tiny. Expect credibility flywheel, not fee windfall. Council FUD means zero. Governance trade-offs exist. Institutions prefer explainable control to chaos. 6. What to cheer for and screenshot. Custody integrations with big names. Treasury and ERP modules adding Hedera. Auditory toolkits. Yes, boring equals bullish. ISO 20022 mapping examples. RWA, secondary, operations, intraday margin, composable funds, regulated, stable, and deposit tokens settling real invoices, or FX. Will there be hype spikes, scary pullbacks, and comment section chaos? Absolutely. That's a bull market with enterprise seasoning. Your job isn't to predict every wiggle, it's to keep your thesis intact while taking rational, pre-planned profits. Funny visual, think air traffic control, not Top Gun. You're coordinating landings, not barrel rolling your account. 7. Disclaimers you'll thank yourself for. No leverage tourism. If you need caffeine to sleep, your size is wrong. Ecosystem tokens equals higher beta, higher risk, a sensible cap, EPE less than, equals 10% of your crypto stack, keeps you in the game after the music changes. Never outsource conviction to influencers, including me. Steal frameworks, verify facts, own decisions. Final promise delivered. The bombshell warning wasn't doom, it was scope. Hedera is playing a game measured in decades, but your edge lives in the next few quarters. Watch the bridges, Swift, and ICE, the plumbing, DTCC like ops, the money wrappers, stable and deposit tokens, and the boring pipes, custody, treasury, and audit. That's where the real re-rating happens. Quietly, then loudly. If you're still here, you're the kind of viewer who wins. Smart, patient, allergic to hype, addicted to progress. Drop Century Rails in the comments so I know you're locked in. Smash like if you prefer truth over sugar, and hit subscribe because we're going to keep tracking the exact signals that matter. No fluff, no panic, just the playbook. Reminder, nothing here is financial advice, it's strategy. You run your plan, Hedera will run its plan, and if Greg Bell's right, those plans meet in the middle, right where legacy finance shakes hands with the future.